Call this regular city council meeting to order. Today is Thursday, February 27th, 2025, and it is 5:31 p.m. Let the record show that Councilman Saldana, Councilwoman Seals, and Councilman Graham are in attendance. At this time, will you do our pledge? Okay. At this time, Councilman Graham's going to do our prayer, and Councilwoman Seals will do our pledge.
Father, we're so grateful to be here. You've allowed us this opportunity, and you've blessed Pecos so much, Father, and we ask you to continue to do so. But grant us wisdom, too, to make the right decisions that you would have us do to be in your will. And just watch over and protect us all. And again, Father, it is an honor to serve you. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, are there any public comments?
I was just wondering when I could start.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your name.
All right. My name is Jeff Martinez. Good evening, Mayor, Council members. My name is Jeff Martinez, Pecos resident, Hotel Occupancy Tax Board alternate, also candidate for Town of Pecos City Council. Tonight's agenda reads goals. But can we reach the small goals first, though? Why did Eddy Street take so long to get painted? What was said, well, no one has wrecked yet. This is the recurring statement I hear. The problem is, but not a solution. Why is Lincoln Street still not painted, remaining in darkness at night? Again, the problem is what it said, but not a solution. Last year, I made a public comment on issues with Maxi Park. A couple of days went by, and nothing. Not a call to me, not an invite to speak with anyone, not a single word from the city to the taxpayer. No one thought maybe to follow up. I came here voluntarily, speaking to my community leaders. Instead, I went to City Hall July 14th of the same year to find answers on my own, as I'm told and encouraged to by my city leaders. On the Maxi Park repairs, I was told lack of funding, lack of manpower. I agreed until what information was given to me and gave a public comment giving praise to the city. However, shortly afterwards, I feel I've been lied to. During the same time period, the new turbine benches were placed around Maxi Park, around August 23rd, which requires funding and manpower. Why were the turbine benches proposed in a hot board meeting that I was on March 6th for funding? These benches were to have more detail on meeting the standards for tourism. In short, heads and beds. However, these benches never made it back to our board for discussion. Instead, they were purchased and placed throughout Maxi Park with funding that I was told was not there before the next fiscal year budgets were proposed. Why was I told differently? This one event I have encountered is possibly just a surface of what goes on with the city funding. Infrastructure, budget, tax abatement, follow-up, possibly table, future will most likely be said in today's meetings. While these words are being said, I hope you remember the people of Pecos tonight and their voices, and me, as I've been here before. Thank you for your time. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council.
Hi, Ori. I'm Jerry Tennyson from Delcom. I'm here to let you guys know, as a result, the town of Pecos in Reeves County has been recognized as a smart rural community. Let me tell you what that means. Well, Delcom, a subsidiary of Del Telephone Cooperative since 1988, has been pivotal in providing broadband services in rural West Texas. In 2011, Delcom began deploying fiber optic broadband, expanding its network to over 20,000 square miles in West Texas and southeastern New Mexico. Delcom and Del Telephone are recognized as a smart rural community, a service provider by the Rural Broadband Association, committed to delivering high-speed broadband to remote areas. Delcom's initiative impacts Reeves County by enhancing connectivity and fostering community growth through the expansion of our fiber optic network. This initiative aligns with the vision of a smart rural community, which emphasizes strong connections and advanced technology. We have a short video to show you real quickly.
Communities attract talented people to live, work, and raise their families. We've deployed a high-speed network that helps the best and the brightest enjoy better lives in our smart rural community. Great small businesses provide jobs that help workers earn a good living and provide for their families while strengthening local economies. We deploy fiber internet that helps those businesses succeed. Great doctor and patient relationships create bonds that lead to healthier lives. We deliver secure connections so every home and rural healthcare provider can connect to the best healthcare options. Great schools help knowledge-hungry students learn, think creatively, and follow their passions. We've built the network that helps their dreams take off. Great farmers provide the food that sustains and nourishes our nation and the world. We keep those farmers connected to the technology that ensures their crops can thrive. We've planned, engineered, and constructed a cutting-edge communications network. We're committed to delivering future-proof broadband so our friends, families, and neighbors can live rich lives in smart rural communities across America. Your community is our community. We're your rural broadband partners. You do great things. We make great things possible.
So in short, what we're going to be doing is we are going to be building our own fiber optic network, well, extending our fiber optic network throughout the town of Pecos, including Balmorhea likewise. And so that's quite an initiative, and we're proud. This is the first step, and it's quite a moniker for you guys to have. It's a feather in your cap. It was hard to get, and we finally got it for you. But I'd like to thank a few people, because I know my time is limited here. The primary contributors to the success of this enterprise is going to be, of course, Judge Leo for his visionary leadership in guiding the future growth of Pecos, Jimmy Dutchover of the PEDC for initiating the visionary concept, City Manager Charles Lino and staff, along with City Council for their unwavering support and endorsement of the initiative. Finally, the Delcom team, which we've been doing a lot of work here, led by Ms. Rihanna Cruz over here, committed to her exceptional leadership in spearheading the Smart Rural initiative. As a result, the town of Pecos, Reeves Counties has been recognized as a smart rural community, which is expected to help communities thrive and grow by improving communications and access to high-speed broadband services. And so Rihanna is going to present you with the recognition.
Is there any other public comments? Okay. We will go to the consent agenda. Item E1, approve the minutes of the February 13th, 2025 regular city council meeting. E2, approve the minutes of the February 20th, 2025 special city council meeting. E3, review the expenditure report. E4, review the PD call report. E5, review the 2024 Police Department Racial Profiling Report. And E6, approve Resolution 25-02-06R, a resolution approving the submission of a Texas Community Development Block Grant Program application to the Texas Department of Agriculture for the Downtown Revitalization Program.
I got a question on expenditures. On page 25, it's with two J&G Trash LLC, tire disposal TECQ violation. Do we have a violation?
If you remember, we had all the tires on the side, and we got a notice from TCQ that we needed to take care of it. So this is one of the last payments towards getting that taken care of. And it's part of our disposal.
Is this out of the landfill?
Yes, at the landfill. It had been piling up.
Can you kind of assume Arthur made that money back? I think
Was it due to the number or how long they'd been there? What was, do you remember the violation?
Kelvin did, but I say it's all of.
Good afternoon, Mayor Council. So, some time ago, we talked about heavy lifting, and this is, these tires have been there for at least 5 years. They piled up, and when TCEQ did visit, they did give us a violation due to the tires being there for a duration of time. So they told us that we needed to act, or we would have additional fines.
I thought, are we still looking at maybe getting with the county? Did they get something to cut them off? Or?
Absolutely. The county is still supposed to be purchasing a tire shredder. Charles and I did speak about us actually purchasing our own tire shredder if the county did not move in a timely fashion.
I thought we had discussed the city buying one in one of our budget meetings.
We
It
did.
was supposed to be at the new landfill, though.
We did. And then we decided to hold off until the new landfill came to make sure that it was mobile. We didn't want to make that type of purchase and it did not be able to be moved to the new landfill.
Right.
Yes, sir.
And I understand there's someone that has a comment about our item E6 on the block grant.
Yes. Just one comment also on the tire recycling. In December, hello, and by the way, greetings, Mayor and Council. My name is Dr. Joseph Viescas. I'm a consultant to the Pecos Economic Development Corporation as well as the town of Pecos City and Reeves County. I wanted to just remind Council that we submitted a grant for the recycling equipment for the tire shredding in December, in mid-December, in conjunction. Heather and I collaborated on this, but it's a tremendous opportunity to not only solve your tire surplus, but to use the particulate that you can grind down from those tires to even cap your landfill. A variety of different services and products can be generated from your own supply of these tires. I know they represent a tremendous fire risk when stacked together here, and the TCQ violations that you've had are long-standing. We will hopefully know very soon from the USDA regarding the status of that request. This type of equipment amounts to about $2 million, and we're hoping to offset that cost to the city overall with this type of grant funding. Regarding the community block development grant, the town of Pecos City has previously pursued downtown revitalization funding but was not awarded. This year, this particular grant request is for $1 million. The resolution indicates that there's $250,000 of matching funds that are generously provided by the Pecos Economic Development Corporation. The total project cost is $1.25 million, and the response time for this process should take over about 5 or 6 months to determine whether or not these improvements will be approved. These augmentations will be improved primarily on Oak Street. This is tied to removing blight, augmenting parking options, and then also providing public bathrooms in your main corridor to benefit the public.
Okay, so the grant on the tire shredder, is it a done deal?
It's under review currently. The USDA should be notifying Heather directly within the coming weeks on the status of moving forward with that or whether it's scored beneath the threshold for consideration. But based off of the decision on that particular grant, that would determine whether the city needed to allocate additional funding specifically for that equipment. It seems as though you all are moving in the direction to get this equipment either way, but I do want to point out that when you have that capability, the town of Pecos City will be able to generate revenue from this project, whether it's supported by the grant or not. That will ultimately even out the cost of maintaining that equipment and then ultimately expanding your fleet to collect those tires that are really throughout the county, but specifically near the landfill.
So how much is it for? I think you said something.
It's a slightly over $2 million request. There's 3 primary types of machines. If you're familiar with this process at all, the types of equipment that you really need to do for the scale of tires that you have are both for semi-trucks as well as for other types of commercial vehicles and then just standard smaller vehicles. Each ton represents something like 45 tires.
of mixed types, but the process itself requires two major pieces of equipment. One is a major shredder, and one's a separator. Inside of tires, there's both the metal framing that's in there and also this type of insulation that gets separated. Within this process, once you separate the larger items, the community can ultimately sell that metal waste that is then recyclable. Another machine breaks down and separates the insulation from the rubber, and then you can reduce those particulates into something very, very fine for playgrounds or for topping landfills or for molding. Really, it has a universal application, but each one of these machines is close to $800,000.
Is there a limit on the size of the tire that equipment can?
And basically, unless it was some gargantuan non-standard tire for construction or something like that, it should be able to handle most of these capabilities, but either way, you break down the tire into a digestible format for that initial shredder. But oftentimes, the way these things work, or this type of machine works, is that it's a closed circuit. There's very limited waste and limited pollution. There is some use of water and a high use of electricity. But once you invest in this type of machinery, you'll have this internal capability for possibly decades to come. It's a very smart investment on the community side to address environmental needs, but it will also augment your personnel needs for maintaining this type of project and then ultimately providing revenue from those tires themselves.
So have the projects been selected for this block grant?
No, ma'am. The deadline is within the next few weeks. The resolution is one step for moving forward with the application. The letter of financial commitment from the PEDC is the other step. The two have been submitted to the council today. And then moving forward from there, Heather and I work together to submit the final application through the online platform for the Texas Department of Agriculture, and then we have to wait for a review. If you all have any additional questions, I'm glad to address any of those as well. But for both items, detailed grant information is available through Heather as well as through the PEDC. Thank you.
I have a question for Chief. On the ACO, I know there was one dog bite. Was that on an owner's property, off owner's property, or do you know the details on that?
Actually, there's two for the month of January. Both were on the property. Both animals were vaccinated and inside of their own yard. So one was a FedEx driver, unfortunately, that got bit. And the second one was someone passing by saying that it was a pack of dogs, although the owner of the one dog they're saying it was had sent pictures showing the dog in the yard at the time. So it was kind of up for debate on which exact dog, but they were vaccinated and they were home quarantined. Yes, ma'am.
And of course, in general, there's just a lot of animal complaints and a lot of animals at large. And again, this just comes back to the community, really. If you're a pet owner, you need to take that responsibility and making sure the yard or the pet is in your yard and not running loose, because then there's always that chance of a dog bite, and it's a bad experience.
Unfortunately, yes, ma'am. It seems like our animals at large, it just still continues. A lot of it is early in the morning, late in the evenings when people let their animals out and you have people walking. We do start to change the hours when the time change happens, because you'll have more daylight hours. So we're still working on trying to get that done. We do have a candidate going through background right now, hopefully to fill that third position.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I called the animal shelter yesterday about 7 o'clock because there was a pack of dogs walking by the front yard. By the time I walked outside, I saw them in the window. By the time I walked outside, they had already crossed over they were running down the alley. But when I called,
But they have a scanner, they're aware of the calls that come in, they communicate with each other and, hey, disband.
Yeah.
they know.
They know.
And they go fast.
Yeah,
They do.
They can't catch them because they're all over
I don't know how they
town.
do
And
it.
it's the same pack.
Yes, there is a pack that the animal control has been chasing for some time. Mr. Graham and I discussed it recently, and Christie has put up, the cages to catch them, and by the next day, they'll be on the opposite side of town or in a different neighborhood, and it's just, you get a feral pack, and sometimes it's hard to pin it down, and she thought she had them pinned up one day and shut the door on somebody's fence, but they went out the other side. So it's just, as a one-woman show at times where she's the only one really patrolling the streets. They are smart, yes, sir.
And it's big dogs and small dogs.
It is.
It's a mixed pack.
I was going to ask what kind of German Shepherds or
Dogs are dogs to me.
Yes.
Big dogs. And actually, she probably should have mentioned this in public comments, but
Yes, ma'am.
congratulations to Christy, your ACO,
Yes.
for the award that she received recently, and really, having as much as possible, a no-kill shelter for, especially for the high intake of animals that we have.
Yes.
And working so hard in getting those animals either adopted out, returned to owners, or transferred out to wherever, in whatever state.
It's kind of wild. She's extremely passionate about what she does. Having Emily that works in the shelter as a tech has been very beneficial. It shocks me that planes fly in here to take our dogs to another state. I was really surprised at that.
Yeah.
And so we're really filling up the East Coast with animals because that's where most of them go, or Canada.
Well, I know it's a lot of hard work on that one, and
It is.
when you're kind of a one-woman show.
Yes, for right now.
Kudos to her, and, maybe if we get this other person hired, we can help cut down on these complaints and, at large, and maybe even save a dog bite.
I hope so, and eventually I come back to you and ask for additional personnel, and like I've explained to you before, we can add all the personnel. It's where are we going to keep all these animals? We don't have enough space and I would hate to see us get in a situation where we have so many that we can no longer intake anymore because we still have calls to answer. And so that's where her resources with the rescue operations have been very instrumental.
And she's got a lot of fosters, too.
She does.
That take in.
Yes, ma'am.
Good work.
Thank you.
I got one more expense question. Who's Pecos Apartments, LLC?
That's Wellspring.
West Springs, okay. They got a grant here for $39,000 for ad valorem taxes.
Yes,
Is
they pay them.
that something to do with that abatement, or
Yes.
we didn't actually give them cash?
No, so they have to pay their taxes first,
Yeah.
and then they show us proof of payment once taxes are paid, and we reimburse them for the city's portion.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? If not, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Have a motion from Councilwoman Seals, a second from Councilman Saldana to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Let the record show the motion carries. Also, I want to make a note that Councilwoman Trujillo came in at 5:33. Go on to our item F, our non-consent agenda. Item F1, update on the Pecos Housing Finance Corporation, Strategic Goal 5, promote open and consistent communication. Reed Stanley, Pecos Housing Finance Corporation attorney.
Dropping stuff all over the place. Good evening, how are you guys? Council, Miss Mayor. So you guys, would you just want me to give an overview of our program, or would you have questions, or which way would you guys be best served?
This happens all over the state?
Yes, sir.
Program.
That's correct. Yeah, we partner with private developers to bring affordable housing throughout the state and bring those funds to Pecos to help improve the conditions here and to help with affordable housing in town, because as I think you guys know, affordable housing is a huge issue here, in large part because of the oil companies and the way that rents are. Last I checked, the rents here are worse than they are in Dallas, and the income is not the same level.
You don't
So.
have projects here in Pecos that's in the future?
Yes, that is our number one goal, is to bring affordable housing to Pecos. So we're using funds to fix up the west of the Pecos apartments right now, which are in bad need of repair. And our overarching goal is to bring Class A affordable housing, workforce housing, to the city of Pecos, because that's badly needed here. Rents are too high. And, we're looking to partner with the right developer to do that, and that's part of what our program is.
Well, I know there are some individual homes that have been, had wheelchair ramps put in, windows replaced.
That's right.
Or those on, kind of through the housing authority.
Sure, yeah, Jerry, who works at the Housing Authority, was very proud of these pictures. He asked me to show them to everybody. But yes, folks that fit our income requirements for low income can apply for a grant to fix aspects in their house that are in bad need of repair. It's oftentimes elderly folks who are on fixed income, Social Security, We recently did the home of a 99-year-old woman who was unable to get to her bedroom because she had a step and she was disabled, and we installed a step there. So I think we're doing a lot of good work in the town, and you'll see our signs around the town as we do that.
What kind of timeline would be for maybe some apartments being built here versus in other communities?
We're hoping sometime in the next couple of years. We met recently, Mr. Salcido and myself, in Dallas with a very prominent multifamily developer in Dallas that specializes in workforce housing with Class A finishes, and we're kind of pre-planning, looking for a site. I met with Mr. Lino a couple weeks ago as well to kind of, find some cooperation between the city and the Housing Finance Corporation in order to find a suitable spot, and we're hoping to get that kicked off within the next few months, if we can find the right spot.
Site for it?
We haven't selected one yet. We want to work with you guys and with the city to find the right site that makes sense for everybody, but I think that's definitely in the works. I think that's Mr. Salcido's number one goal.
I have a question.
Yes.
How does the community find out about these projects? I know you guys are great at putting your signs out on existing projects, but how do you guys communicate with our lower income, fixed income residents that would qualify for these services?
Absolutely. So there is a number you can call for the grant, or anyone can come to the Housing Authority and drop off an application. We have a standardized application for folks that are needing that assistance, and they've been processed pretty quickly. We've got Jerry as the project manager on that. He's doing a great job. Very soon, we're working on a website that will go live and will allow residents of the city of Pecos to apply. And we're pretty proud about that, and we're pretty excited about it. I think it's going to do a lot of good in the community. And we also discussed recently, finding partnerships within the community, to help do fix-up projects and things like that, for folks that were looking to get into volunteerism and other aspects like that. We kind of see it as something to help the community and help bring the community together.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So does our locals actually put any money into this project? I mean, or I guess all of them kind of get together and help build these projects or find people to build them?
For the home repair program?
No, for the actual apartments or whatever that they are building.
Oh, yes. Most of the ones that we have are not building, they're existing, and what we've done is well, there have been renovations that have been done in private partnership with the developers, but our main role is to come in and make sure that we can bring affordable housing to communities, and so, we get a regulatory agreement to restrict rents to a certain level so that half the units of every apartment complex we work with are restricted to folks making 80% or less AMI. The other 40% are restricted to folks making 140% less AMI. So that's typically our role.
So I guess my question is, our local housing finance corporation, in order to be a part of that, is there a buy-in to it or anything?
We don't expend any funds on those projects, no.
Did you just get money back out of them?
Correct.
What a deal.
Where does the money come from?
The funding, all of our funding comes from private developers that enter into the partnership with us.
Like that family in Dallas you were talking about?
In Dallas, the company that we spoke with, we have not partnered with them yet. We're hoping to partner with them to bring apartments to Pecos, but yes, they're private developers just like that are looking to, work on their affordable housing, and, that's where we come in and help give them a regulatory agreement, get affordable housing, and that's where the funds come from. So we're solely privately funded.
I'm glad that, what's going on and all that. How come we hadn't been doing it earlier? Years past.
That's a good question. So the
What I see is, suddenly it showed up, so I'm just kind of curious why, the housing authority, that's part of their job for the city is to take care of, the low income,
Right.
and then all of a sudden we start building or fixing. So I was just wondering where has this all been before?
Well, so I think the Housing Authority before was a little bit lacking in funds. The HFC was established in 2015. didn't do a whole lot outside of some little bit of work with the Housing Authority. Recently, there's been an uptick of interest in our program, and so, we're looking to partner with high-quality private developers and make sure that we can ensure affordable housing across the state. And so, there's just been more interest in our program recently. In addition to the affordable housing crisis, I would call it, in Pecos, and frankly statewide, as our population has continued to grow and we get folks coming in from California and whatnot, rents are a problem across the state, so I think there's a lot more interest in the program right now. The program has become more popular on a whole, and people are more familiar with the structure, so I think that's caused a large uptick in interest.
Are you the attorney just for the Pecos HFC, or are you
That's
the attorney
correct.
for multiple?
Just Pecos. I represent other people, but they're the only HFC I represent.
What about the rent? Is the rent subsidized? Or is there a tax?
All Pecos properties except housing choice vouchers, so subsidized rent, yeah.
Where's the subsidy come from?
That would come from the government, the federal government typically. We don't subsidize, but we accept housing choice vouchers, and that's something that all the developers that work with us agree to do. Which is actually, when you look at it from an affordability standpoint, it's something that's really positive, especially when you take, communities that, traditionally have been a little bit NIMBY and they don't want affordable housing right in their backyard. So, it's a bit of a stretch, and when we can get developers to do that, we feel really good about it.
I think that apartments there on Texas Street is the same type of situation.
Mission Village?
Mission Village, yeah. I don't think we've worked on that one, but perhaps that's another partnership for the future.
What kind of improvements can you tell us, do you guys have planned for the existing housing authority apartments that they have right now?
Yep.
I've had several people reach out and say, hey, those apartments haven't been updated in quite a while.
Yes,
I know there's a waiting list for them, is what I understand, so the need is there.
So I would need to have Jerry, construction manager for the HFC, speak to that, but I know that we're looking at a pretty significant rehabilitation. They're in pretty bad need of it. Unfortunately, and my son's greatly disappointed about this, I'm not a construction worker, but Jerry knows about it. He gets mad every day when I go to work. He's like, why don't you do construction? I don't know.
Once you put that hard hat on.
He does. That's what he was for Halloween. He's like, why don't you wear this for work? Oh, next time I'll bring a hard hat.
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree. I've had people reach out to me saying that some of our local housing authority really needs some help. And again, no, there's a waiting list, but I'm not sure in some situations why they want to move in there, because some of them are pretty bad.
It's exactly right. It's between that and the situation with some of the houses that we fix in the home repair, I mean, there's a disparity in the city, and when you get to some of the lower income folks, some of the places are rough, and, I don't personally think that that's something that we need in a town like this. So, we definitely are going to make sure that those are repaired, and that's top of the agenda items.
Thank you. I'm not sure how far you came from Dallas.
Just from Dallas, so not too far. I flew into Midland today and drove, so not too bad.
All interstate.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming out.
Of course, absolutely. And we're around if you have any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll go on to item F2, update on the tank rehabilitation project, which goal 7, enhance Pecos' infrastructure network. Roxana Bagwell McGuire Water.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Council. Kelvin Ridgely, Director of Public Works. Roughly 6 months ago, we entered into an agreement with McGuire for our tank maintenance. I thought it'd be a good idea to bring Ms. Roxana Bagwell here today and give you all an update on the progress. So here she is.
You wanted to bring her before we asked.
That's right.
You're being proactive.
I knew you'd ask.
Is this other question, is this a budgeted item?
Absolutely.
All right.
Well, good evening, Mayor and Council. It's good to be back here. Again, I'm Roxana Bagwell with McGuire, and I am bringing you good news. And I have some good things to show you of what we've been doing to improve the water quality in Pecos. So this is where we started, out at the Ward County tank, which you can see had some work to be done. Had the floor had a lot of deficiencies. But what we got on the job, and you can see the picture on the left, is new floor that was installed. The interior of the tank was repainted. This is a stripe coating on the interior. And look at that new shiny floor. Does that not look great? And this is really a major improvement for water quality. This is really great.
Doesn't look like the same.
No, no.
Same thing.
So, and then we also painted the exterior. The picture on the left is the zinc primer that we put on, and the picture on the right then is the brand-new paint coating installation. So we've also completed all the TCEQ tank inspections for 2024, which is a requirement for the city to have on file. So Kelvin has those. And now we are currently on the blending 2 million gallon ground storage tank that is getting a new roof and is also being rehabilitated. So this is a major job. Our crews are out there now, and we're looking at probably a 12-week project out there. And then once we get the okay from Kelvin, we start on all the chemical cleaning and install the mixers on the rest of the tanks on the right. Oh, back. And then here's what's next. Now, these are just proposed logos that we had some fun with, but the riveted tank is the next one to be painted, and the only job I have for you is to decide what logo and what you want to put on this tank. I have been in correspondence with the ISD superintendent, and I don't have anything back yet that really confirms what the colors, what you want up there, and logos, that type of thing. But good things are happening. Do you have any questions?
Would you be the one to also include the lights that go off when a touchdown's made?
I have a contact.
And Mr. Jacob really wants that.
He really does.
And, you know, that is one of the latest and greatest things that cities are doing. I've had a lot of cities put the colors that change. You operate them from the ground. It's really a fun thing. But we don't do that, but I can certainly give you a referral.
I've had people ask about that water tank across from the school. It needs to be painted purple and gold.
Well, whatever you decide on. That's usually the one thing that takes the longest, is to decide who wants what up there, and
Who's paying for it?
that's right. Right now, you're paying for it, but so it's up to y'all. But
Maybe we should come up with a really ugly logo, and then Jacob will come back and say
I'll
he'll
pay
pay
for
for
it
a
if we
nice
can do
logo.
this.
but that is our next tank. So it's coming. It will be here sooner than you think, and so we'll need to pick out the colors and so forth. So this is
kind of the timeline for that.
Well, as soon as, it just kind of depends on high demand. So if we finish with the blending, say by May, June, we'll probably get on the next tank in October. Just depends on high demand season here, if we can take that tank offline. So we also are concerned about heat, because the hotter the steel gets, the less adhesion issues we have with the paint. So that's kind of what we're looking at.
We might be closer to another year of football season to go by before it gets done.
Well, the start of the next football season, yeah.
But it wouldn't be complete. I don't know how long it would take to actually.
Well, and that tank is not too big, so it's probably going to be a 4 to 6 week project, and that'll be weather dependent.
If you don't start till October, the football season kind of be.
Well, that's true, yeah. So, but that one is next, so get your colors picked. Can you think of anything
It's
else?
a big difference in those tanks.
Yeah.
I'd like to get them up there and to cheer the team on.
There you go. Kelvin can lead the way. Yes.
Right, right.
Not with this band.
Megaphone and pom-poms down.
Yeah. No, so good things are happening.
Looks good.
All righty. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Go to item F3, discuss, consider resolution 25-02-07R, a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a purchase agreement with BC Companies, Inc. for the Precision Approval Path Indicator PAPI system to be installed on existing foundation at the Pecos Municipal Airport in the amount of $53,232. This is Strategic Goal 7, enhance Pecos' infrastructure network. Holly Jaraki, Director of Community Services.
Mayor Council, Holly Jaraki, Community Services Director, and I'm bringing this resolution and requesting approval. This is a budgeted item through our professional services, and ultimately will be reimbursed through our ramp grant that we have annually with TxDOT Aviation. This particular system, I gave you all a graphic so you could actually see what a PAPI system is. The current system that we have in place has been in place since 1985. We have made repairs on them over the years. The capacitors are quite old. Our last capacitor and repair costs upwards of $1,500 just for the one capacitor. The challenge being obtaining the capacitors because of the age of the equipment. So in discussing the replacement, I asked our fixed base operator, Coley Means, if we could look at replacing both of our PAPI systems. These PAPI systems are going to provide our pilots that are flying into Pecos the proper altitudes. Currently, we do not have fully operational PAPI systems, meaning they're not automatic. So they're manually done when we have people coming in at night. So this is imperative that we move forward and go ahead and update this system to meet all of the other updates that we're actually doing out at the airport.
Any questions? I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 25-02-07R as presented. I'll second.
Thank you.
I have a motion from Councilwoman Seals, a second from Councilwoman Trujillo, to approve resolution 25-02-07R as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Let the record show the motion carries. Item F4, discuss and consider ordinance 25-02-02, an ordinance amending Chapter 14, Building and Building Regulations, Article 2, second reading, Strategic Goal 3, promote the visual image of Pecos. Holly Jaraki, Director of Community Services.
Mayor, Council, this is the second reading of adding and updating our current building code, from 2015 to 2021 for the IPMC, the International Property Maintenance Code, as well as the 2020 Energy Code.
Make the motion that we approve. Is there any questions? Make the motion we approve ordinance 25-02-02 as presented.
I'll second.
Have a motion from Councilman Saldana, a second from Councilwoman Seals, to approve ordinance 25-02-02 as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Let the record show the motion carries. Item F5, discuss, consider ordinance 25-02-01, an ordinance repealing ordinance 19-11-03, prohibiting the maintaining of dangerous buildings within the city of Pecos, second reading. Goal 3, promote the visual image of Pecos. Holly Jiraki, Director of Community Services.
Thank you, Mayor Council. Holly Jiraki. So this is the second reading for our dangerous building ordinance. It is removing or repealing what was previously in there, bringing notification to municipal court versus bringing it to council. We will now be bringing it to council for all decisions, for all dangerous buildings coming to, that are being identified and then being brought to council.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 25-02-01, second reading as presented.
I'll second.
Got a motion from Councilwoman Seals, a second from Councilman Saldana to approve ordinance 25-02-01 as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Let the record show the motion carries. Item
Thank you.
F6, discuss, consider resolution 25-02-08R, a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a purchase agreement for 7 2025 Ford Explorer vehicles for Rogers Ford sales in the amount of $381,500 as budgeted in the capital fund. Strategic Goal 2, Safe and Secure City. Lisa Tarango, Chief of Police.
Mayor, Council, Lisa Tarango, Chief of Police. You'll see before you is a resolution request for 7 patrol vehicles that have now been completed. They're right off the assembly line, and they've been delivered to Stanley Ford, and they're ready to be sent to outfitting. These are 7 that are budgeted items in our capital budget, and they are ready to go. They just need to be paid at this point.
How long have you been waiting for these?
Several years actually, but this 2025 were ordered right before December. So they came out of Chicago.
I'll make the motion that we approve resolution 25-02-08R as presented.
I'll second.
Have a motion from Councilman Saldana, a second from Councilman Graham, to approve resolution 25-02-08R as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Let the record show the motion carries.
Thank you.
Item F7, discuss, consider resolution 25-02-09R, approving policies and procedures for economic development incentives and electing to become eligible to participate in tax abatement. Strategic Goal 1, Sustainable Economic Development. Heather Ramirez, Assistant City Manager, and we're going to open a public hearing.
Yes, thank you. Mayor and Council, in your packets, what you're going to see is a resolution that's discussing our economic incentive, particularly to Chapter 380 and Chapter 312. This is something we will have to do every 2 years. Chapter 312 in the tax code requires us to adopt or re-adopt these guidelines and us review them every 2 years. So this is part of that formality.
So are we supposed to be looking at something?
There's nothing
We
in
don't
our...
have.
You don't have nothing in the packet?
No.
On the plastic package, I sent recently, but that's the one I get. No, it's not enough.
Yeah, I was like, it was on mine. I can make copies really quick.
We have no attachment.
No, we don't have anything attached.
You're only missing 16 pages.
Don't wonder our
You
package
read all
should
of
be
it,
just-
right?
Didn't take me very long to get through there.
Well, we did the majority of this previously. This is just trying to memorialize it.
Yes, it is memorializing it. And as you know, Chapter 312 of the Texas Tax Code, it's also known as the Property Redevelopment and Tax Abatement Act, which allows taxing unities such as us, all the taxing unities except for school districts, to offer temporary property tax exemptions for improvements to existing properties. And then in order for us to offer tax abatements, the council has to approve a resolution opting into tax abatements. And it's something we'll do every 2 years.
What are some of the examples of why we would give them abatement?
Let me,
Sorry, put you on the
Well,
spot.
it's-
so when she gets done printing this, you're gonna see we have a bunch of different examples in there. And then if you remember a few months ago, I think in November, we approved just the tax abatement part and Charles presented the different tax abatements.
Like if it was tiered, 10-year, 5-year, 3-year.
Yes.
Some examples of how it would be tiered.
And then prior to that, we adopted all like different scenarios of Chapter 380 incentives. So what this is doing is just combining the two and making it one packet. So what you'll see is the resolution, and then you'll see the policy and guidelines.
So this isn't set in stone, this is just an example of how we can.
Yes, and it'll state in there too that this is just an example, and it's for reference only. So some of this will look familiar, but we're just putting it all in one packet.
So we could look at this later when we come back up.
Oh yeah, you can bring this up anytime.
So basically, every situation is going to be different anyway.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, and of course, they'll have to fill out an application and it'll come to council for discussion. And if it is something we are going to approve, we'll have other criteria we have to meet. We'll have to do public hearings and make the public aware of any tax abatements we offer.
How long does the public hearing have to be?
2 minutes.
I didn't say I have, I wrote down 6:19.
So
Oh.
we met that criteria.
Mhm. Yes.
Okay, so we're going to close the public hearing at this time.
Can I ask you a question? So this is going to be for commercial and housing, apartments, stuff like that. Does it cover everything? This particular deal? I didn't need that ordinance.
Yes, and it's for existing properties, so you can either develop new construction or enhance current. And it's mostly commercial.
So if someone comes in and wants to develop 20 new homes in a subdivision, then they could ask for a tax abatement. Or as long as they owned it. Right? It's more like maybe for apartments, multi-unit housing maybe?
I'm not sure, I know. I have to look into that.
Looks like the guy that was just here, I guess he's already gone.
Yes, attorney,
Yeah. I think that they have to pay property taxes too.
So this is basically for commercial,
yes.
commercial development. Oh, I'm just asking.
Well, this is going to be for the 380 agreements, for the twos, for other stuff, neighborhood empowerment zones, public improvement districts, which I don't know that we do, but could do it.
Yes, and then they're gonna have to,
I think we had a kid long time ago,
Not lately.
not lately.
And the criteria is pretty nice in the fact that it's illustrative but not exhaustive about things that we could look for, but it I mean, whatever project's different, at the end of the day, the council will have the authority on each individual project on what to approve, if any, for this type of thing.
Yes, and then they'll have to show it to the council that they're going to be creating a economic tax base and let you know how many job opportunities that are going to be created. And then once approved, we will post this online for the public to have access.
So if we approve this, we've got the option of 2 different types of abatements, the 5-year and the 3-year.
So that's just an example. The council has the discretion.
Come up with what we want.
Yes,
And is that on a case by case?
yes, that's on case by case. So just because it's in here doesn't mean
This is it.
this is what,
Or you have to choose one, a 5-year or a 3-year. It's just whatever comes up at the time, probably depending on how large a project is.
correct. And the council has the discretion to make modifications to whatever they're requesting. You can approve it as is, or you can simply deny
Because, no,
a request.
We had talked about just doing it for, say 3 to 5-year abatement. So I don't know if that has to be in writing or not.
No, so the way
It says
this is-
something about 10-year too.
Yeah, 10 years the max. But the way it's written, it was just to give whoever's picking up this packet, to just kind of give them an idea of something they could ask for, but it doesn't mean they're going to get it. If you wanted to say 4 years, that's up to the
It's
council.
just giving us the guidelines that we need for whatever projects coming in way.
Correct.
And at the bottom, it does say, this policy can be modified or amended as needed with the direction of the city council. So it doesn't have to be the specific one, it's just an idea of what we, a template.
Yes, it's just a template.
And this is, I think, something that was brought to our attention that needs to be something that we renew each 2 years. So just to make sure we stay in compliance with the tax code.
Make a motion. Resolution 250209R.
I have a motion from Councilman Graham, a second from Councilwoman Trujillo, to approve Resolution 25-02-09R as presented. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Let the record show the motion carries.
Thank you.
Item F8, discuss, consider a plan for future event center, strategic goal 1, sustainable economic development. Renetta Seals, Councilmember, seat 2.
Yes, I had put this on previously as just a discussed item, just to kind of plant a seed out there to see if this might be something we would want to pursue. I asked for it to be put back on as a discuss, consider, after we had our joint entity meeting where it was talked about there. I know the county is proposing to build a hotel and a conference center. But right now, we really only have one large venue to be able to have events here. And it's already booked for a year out. So there's no place, I mean, if you have a really smaller event, there is our little community center, but there just isn't a whole lot of other options. And when it came to my attention that a lot of our local residents were having to go to other communities to have their events, that's kind of sad. We want them to stay here in their own community. And so I really wanted more discussion on this. And I know at the joint entity meeting, even Commissioner Hinojos pointed out that years past, we had several places here in town to have events. So it wasn't just one. And again, I know the county is planning something maybe a little further out than what we want to wait at this point. And I think we could probably find some land and find an architect or a firm to help us maybe kind of decide what we would want in one. Maybe we can even do a trip or two collectively or one on singly, going out and looking at different facilities to see what might really work here, take pictures of them and bring them back and get some really good ideas. And even if it's a metal building with a really nice facade on the front, to have something in the interim period. And if our community continues to grow, I think this is something that could benefit all of us for a long time. Because if we want to bring these people here, they need a place to have their events and not have to plan their wedding a year out just because that's the first time that they can get the local civic center. So that's why I put it up on the agenda again, to kind of get more discussion about it, how the council feels. If this is something we would or should go ahead and kind of pursue, should we start looking for some land sites that might be appropriate for it, and then take whatever the next step might be. I just didn't know what y'all's thoughts were on it.
It's very much needed. I think it's something that we should start looking at land and locations. I don't know what the process is or the timeline that we could potentially strive for, but I think it's something that's definitely needed.
I really think we could probably have something, I mean, if we move kind of fast and not just talk about it for the next 3-6 months, to kind of get it going, and probably have something in a year or 15 months maybe at the latest, just in a little bit of conversation I've had. I just think it could really benefit the community. I think it could be also a good revenue source for the city. You know, right now our chamber is in kind of a situation and they're looking for a home. Of course, they'd like one sooner than later, but you know, the chamber could even possibly be a booking agent for the events out there. If not them, I'm sure there's someone else that, you know, wouldn't mind doing that for us. I just think there's a lot of opportunity here in our community, and this is just something that we really need to help provide an opportunity for people to have events here in our community.
Well, I agree. I think we need to move forward with this. There's, you know, land we have. So it's just a matter of, you know, finding where, and I'd like to move fast on this as quickly as we can, because 2 years down the line before we have anything else that the county is doing. But, you know, we used to have Saragossa Hall, the Santa Rosa Hall,
Riverside.
And those aren't utilized anymore. I mean, they need help, and so just getting and we don't need, it'll cost them more to refurbish than to build.
Anymore.
And if we need to build one, I met with some, what do they call them, builders today. I had lunch with a couple of them, and they showed me some stuff because they're trying to come into town because of everything that's happening here. And man, they had some stuff like, wow. I said, man, could that work here in Pecos? And it wasn't, you know, something that, and it was a metal building. One example I saw was a metal building, but man, the way they fixed it, you know, and you know, we went to Van Horn and saw what Van Horn had, and it's just a small community center, but God, that thing was nice. Jeez. And we're sitting here like, I said, man, here we got all this stuff happening in Pecos, and we don't even have, you know, the Civic Center. It's always tied up with, the companies have their meetings there, they have their safety meetings, because the company I work with, that's where we did our safety meetings every month. So every month, every weekend, that thing is busy. It starts on Friday, and then I don't know during the week, but most everything is Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, but I think this is something that the community needs, because I've heard even our little community center here is booked. So, and I hate to see our folks having to go. One thing about Pecos, we like to party. Growing up, I went dancing every Saturday night, and because it was available. Now we don't have nothing, because if that's not tied up with something, you can't have anything like that. And it's good to have that kind of problem. That man, they're booked, but what about the rest of us? You know, so I think it's something good to pursue. And I'm supposed to get some pictures from, so I can show so that you all kind of have an idea of what we can. And then show them up to the community when we decide, okay, this is what we want or what we don't want. You know, but I think we need to move forward.
There's a lot of things that different people are gonna have different ideas that can be thrown into this and,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, make it a little more universal for a lot of different types of events. You know, maybe it could be an indoor event and maybe the right construction, if it need to be an outdoor, maybe you could rotate a stage around and make it be an outdoor event or something. And I just really think our community needs and deserves another opportunity to hold their events here in town.
I'd like to see the cost, kind of general cost, and see how that fits into our budget. And also, I'd like to see, you know, if we had some land, let's, a private enterprise, advertise it for somebody to come in that specializes in this. They can move a lot faster.
That works too.
You know, make it into a private enterprise.
It's hard to know a cost right now because we don't know what all we want in it. But that's, excuse me, where we have to kind of start a process to find out what a cost might be if we want this, a cost if we want this and this. I mean, whatever it is that we want in there, that's the only way we're going to do it, is if we start trying to come up with some ideas and some possible plans for it.
And you know how you mentioned the chamber could actually be housed there and be the booking agent, but besides being the promoter of everything that's going on through there.
Move forward.
Yeah. I make the motion that we move forward with it.
I'll second.
It's kind of a general motion, but maybe make a motion to get some cost and see what the possibility of the land and everything too.
Yeah.
And
Design ideas.
design ideas. If you get some kind of private deal too, the city wouldn't be out any money, you know, because they're gonna make, whoever does it's gonna make money by looking at stuff, so. Yeah. This, okay, I think it's a good idea.
Oh, I think so too.
You want to kind of amend your motion?
Or leave it as is.
Make the motion that we look into moving forward with a pricing,
Design.
Design.
stuff like that.
Land availability.
And the land availability.
Okay.
Second that.
Have a motion from Councilman Saldana, second from Councilwoman
Specific,
Trujillo
man.
to proceed with preliminary findings for an event center. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Let the record show the motion carries.
Thank you.
Item F9, update on pending 2023 financial audit, strategic goal 5, promote open and consistent communication. Randy Graham, Council Member C3.
Got good news?
Well, I'll just tell you the news. Yes, Mayor and Council, as you know, we've been working through our audits, trying to get caught up. We have encountered some challenges that have caused some delays with the audit we're currently in right now. I believe Charles has kind of discussed with some of y'all. We have two major components of the audit that Charles himself is working on, and it requires that specialized expertise and a lot of dedicated time. So we have actually scheduled 2 meetings next week to meet with some third-party specialists that could assist us. And the reason we're going to have these meetings with them is we want our auditors and Charles to explain to them exactly what it is we're needing so that we could pick from the 3 who we think could benefit us and help us get this going. So I don't have great news, but we do have a plan.
Well, that's moving
Yes.
forward.
Yes.
On to item F10, discuss, consider rescheduling the March 13th, 2025 regular city council meeting, strategic goal 5, open and consistent communications. Cyrus Nichols, City Secretary.
Mayor and Council, due to the upcoming trip on March 13th, We were needing to reschedule the meeting. I know Mr. Lino is waiting on an update from Bobby Maldonado. He's wanting to schedule a special meeting with you all once he gets an update from him. So he asked if you wouldn't mind just motioning to reschedule for a date at a later time once he has that. He's anticipating hopefully maybe Monday, March 17th, to have that update, and then we can have a meeting.
So after the trip?
Yes, ma'am.
Have it on Thursday,
Would
the
it be a
20th.
special meeting or just rescheduling?
It would be a reschedule of the regular meeting, yes.
So would it be like the following Thursday?
Well, he asked if you didn't schedule the date as of
Oh,
yet,
okay.
until he knows once he gets the update, we'll let you all know so we can schedule that. Mhm.
I'll make a motion to reschedule the March 13th meeting to a date to be determined later.
I'll second.
Have a motion from Councilwoman Seals, a second from Councilwoman Trujillo to reschedule our March 13th meeting to a later date. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Let the record show the motion carries. Item F11, presentation of the implementation progress of Goal 1 of the Town of Pecos City 2030 Strategic Plan, Goal 1, Sustainable Economic Development. Syra Nichols.
Okay, Mayor and Council, I'm Syra Nichols, the City Secretary, and I am also the Goal 1 team lead for our strategic plan. So I want to give you a fair warning. I have one of the bigger goals, so it's going to take a bit. But if we go to the next slide. Okay, so I'm going to start off by just kind of recognizing everyone. So everything that you're going to hear about my goal, a lot of these projects have come through fruition because of you all working with all the other entities in our community. So I wanted to give that shout out to the ESD, the EDC, the county, the school, and the hospital, and of course you all, because without y'all's partnership, a lot of this stuff probably wouldn't have been happening. So on this next slide, that's my awesome team right there, internal team. So you know Mary Carmen, Heather, Wendy, Cindy, Edward, Crystal from GIS, and then Jesus. Those are the ones internally that I got a lot of our information from. And I also I got information, I was reaching out to the chamber, to our Reeves CAT office, Thomas Ward at Cyclone, and also our local Workforce Solutions office. So a lot of the information you're about to hear comes from all of these offices.
Did you staff your team?
Yes, yes, I had an awesome team. Yes. So our first strategy is stabilize and expand Pecos tax base. So 1.1, the percentage increase in tax revenue year over year. So I got this information from Mr. Snyder, and so it shows our taxes assessed in 2023 and 2024. The amounts on top are the assessed amounts for properties, and on the bottom, that's going to include the delinquent taxes that hadn't been paid as of yet. So that's why you see that slight difference in those rates. Okay, we can go. Do you have any questions on that? Okay, so the next one. Number of facade improvements, signage upgrades, and light installations completed downtown. This is a list of 14 businesses that took up the EDC. They have that signage grant for downtown businesses. These are 14 businesses that capitalized on that grant.
And that's great.
Yes. Yes.
And just kind of, in showing this, you kind of forget what all has kind of come in or who has done
In and
improvements.
out.
And then when you see the list, you're really impressed
That
by it.
people are taking advantage, yeah. So our next one. So this is projects done by our Keep Pecos Beautiful board. So we just did the ribbon cutting yesterday for the Veterans Mural. They've also installed benches downtown along Oak Street, and they're currently working on doing some lighting, getting the light installations or getting the engineering done for that, and also the soil for the self-watering flower plants. So you're going to see all that happening soon too. And then these are for city projects. It's a list of things that Holly has planned. She's got, so of course we talked about parking lots last week. And so Holly already had that on her radar. She plans on finishing this parking lot over here to the north of us, behind the water district. She had planned on getting that completed by the summer of 2025. So, and from my understanding, the county county commissioners had already discussed about partnering with the city and helping with the materials and that. So they should be reaching out soon to Holly about that. She also has a 2-year plan to look for, to identify additional locations throughout downtown. So it was awesome that John brought that mock-up last week, so it kind of added some ideas in there. We're also looking to add Christmas lighting downtown as well, kind of to mimic what we do at the park and bring it down and light up downtown. And me and Jesus have been talking about as well as implementing public Wi-Fi access downtown. So I believe it's Delcom? No? Yes, like different companies are talking about giving public access. So we've been talking about hotspots, like, the extension of Lincoln Street, maybe trying that area out, but we want to start off downtown and see how that works and see if we can kind of up people coming downtown and with the public Wi-Fi access. Okay, so our next strategy is to collaborate with other community entities on potential development opportunities. So here, number of partnerships or collaborative projects initiated with community entities. So this goes back to the list I showed you initially in 2023-24. There were 8 that took up some grants on their local storefronts, and then last year there was only 1. So the EDC is looking to push to get more businesses to update their facades. Okay, and then this is a list of all the projects the EDC is working on with other entities. So of course y'all are familiar with the Hidden Heroes project, the 4 phases of housing that they're currently working on, teaming up with the EDC and the county for the water park, and I believe y'all asked Mr. Lena to also participate in that. The broadband project that they just spoke about during public comments. EDC's introducing in talks with some glass plants and also a sidewalk installation project. Okay, and then the private-public partnership, that's with the Freight Village over there to the south of town, next to the Loves along the interstate, and housing developments. And the housing developments is actually a really neat project. So with those gas plants I just mentioned, the EDC's created, it's kind of like an incentive thing. So if there's businesses that are coming in and they want abatements or incentives through the EDC is going to require that they build housing dwellings. So at least I believe it's a minimum of 30 housing dwellings, and the requirement is at least 50% of those houses have to be available to the public to purchase. So that's going to bring more housing to the community. Next slide. Okay, so this goes along with what I just spoke on. That lets you know how many, we've got a lot of housing planning to bring that in for not only our entities, but also for the public. Okay, strategy 2.3, number of jobs retained or created through collaborative efforts. This is a list of jobs that have been created both permanently and through the construction phases of new projects. So, well, the Texan and Wendy's brought over 30 permanent jobs, and then while they were in construction phases, there were 75 temporary jobs in town. So that kind of gives you an idea of how, even if it's temporary, it eventually leads to permanent jobs. Okay, amount of external funding or grants secured through collaborations. This is over $183 million that have been secured through grants to help complete these projects. And this also doesn't include the fact that, like, the gas plants and electrical plants that Jimmy's been in conversations with, they can still apply for additional zero interest loans with the state. Okay, our next strategy, enhance visitor revenue opportunities. Okay, so this is a update of hotel occupancy tax rates. As you can see, last year it went down 0.002%. It wasn't a big change. After speaking with Mr. Lino, he does anticipate that rising. He does.
Oh.
Yes. So he says that not to worry. He feels that that's going to go up this next year. Okay, numbers of events or festivals aimed at attracting visitors. This is a list from Cyclone that I got, and these are the numbers of anticipated baseball tournaments he has scheduled for the for this quarter. I know he hosted one last weekend, and he said that there was a good amount of teams that played. 30-something teams played, yes. Okay, and this is to go along with the same strategy. I got this information from our local chamber office, and of course they want to continue with the same traditions, Night in Pecos, Golden Girl, Cantaloupe Festival, but I've also added to the list of things that they are interested in putting on to bring more revenue to the city. So they want to put on art shows, mariachi festivals, stock shows, things like that. So it's really exciting, the things that they're working on right now. Okay, attracting new businesses with new technologies. Okay, so for this one, it doesn't look very exciting. It says we have 3 plans for new emerging technologies. Right now, I'm not at liberty to discuss the names of those plans, but hopefully soon, within a few months, we'll be able to announce that. Okay, stimulate economic growth through infrastructure development. So the completion rate of infrastructure projects within planned timeframes. Wendy's, Starbucks, and the Dollar General on Highway 17 were all completed within their estimated time frame. Increase in commercial property development near the municipal airport. So one of the gas plants that is going to be developing soon will be developing along where we just extended Tolliver Street up to 118. And they have capitalized on that incentive with the EDC, so they'll be also bringing new housing into the city. Integration of infrastructure with private investment. Okay, and once again, these are some of the ones that are capitalizing on those incentives with the EDC. Amount of private investment leverage per dollar of public spending. So it's $9 million of private investments to $250,000 in PEDC spending. So that's really good. Okay. And then these are the number of new businesses established in areas with integrated infrastructure. That's like Wendy's, Burger King, Starbucks, that all came in where we helped with the infrastructure, and then they came in after that. Okay, business-friendly permits and inspection processes. They look business-friendly to me. So the average time to process business permits. So I know that was a hot topic there for a while, but so we've been tracking it, and it's for a basic permit, it's anywhere from 24 to 48 hours, depending how fast we can get all the insurance information, contractor information from anyone pulling a permit. So that's been quicker. 1 to 2 weeks on larger projects. Our interdepartments, they have started doing weekly plan reviews on Wednesdays. They have it scheduled in the afternoons to meet and review plans so that we can get those permits out faster. And then for business satisfaction rate with permitting processes and number of complaints related to permitting processes, we came up with a solution. So we created a small survey, and what we're gonna do is anytime someone comes in internally to get a permit, we're gonna have them fill out a small survey, and we're also gonna include the link in all of our signatures of our email. So anytime we send out an email, say, hey, would you mind taking a second to fill out this survey? So try to get that out that more. We're gonna put that in on the signatures for the permitting department and also my department as well. So identifying and develop plans for areas of reinvestment. So the I know this map's a bit hard to see, but the reinvestment zones filed with the state in June of 2024. So we'll have more allocation data this coming summer. And the TERS board currently met and they approved splitting up the TERS into 5 separate zones. And I will get a clearer picture of that so you guys can get a better idea of where those zones exactly are. And that's all I have. Do you have any questions?
Great job. I think when we see something like this, the visual, we know, we kind of talk about it and we kind of forget of all the progress that we've made in the past few years. And it's a great reminder, and just putting it all out there, it makes me feel really good to be a part of this and continue to move forward. So good job. Thank you for doing that. And good job, everybody. Thank you.
You know, it might seem that we're at a standstill, but let me tell you, it takes time to get this stuff moving. Once like that, what's constructing right now, right there by Burger King, that took a year to get it going like that. Now it's being built. So it's sometimes, you know, we want it to happen, but you got to go through the protocol. Got to go through all the red tape of stuff, but here within 2 to 5 years, it's going to be totally different. Look how long it took to build that baseball park since 2012. Now we got it, and it's there. And now once you start it, the second phase, third phase, they go quick. It's starting. Basically, it's starting. So, you know, and one of the things that, you know, people complain about, well, why is it taking so long? Well, first things first, we don't have the personnel here in town for that. The oil field takes a majority because they get paid better. So we're losing employees to the oil field. So some of the locals are having a hard time, you know, having people to work. And so with that being said, we have to be patient in everything, because everything is a timing deal. The opportunity has opened up and we got to jump on the opportunity, but once we get it rolling, it's good. But you know, the town has been in a standstill for years and years and years. I left 35 years and the town's worse than it was when I left. And now I'm back, and I've been in the council, this is my 5th year, something like that. And man, it took a while to get the ball rolling, but it had to take changing of people, changing the concept of people's mind, because not everybody likes progress. But I mean, either we go forward or we die, and the other towns are growing. And now we're in the middle, we're in the hub. They have to come to Pecos for a lot of that stuff. And so, you know, you can hear all the complaining about different things. Get involved, and then you'll know what it is, because that's why I get involved, because man, I was a complainer, but why don't we have this, why don't we have this? Until I started seeing how the system works, and man, let me tell you, government doesn't work fast. That's why, like what Councilman Graham said about, if we're gonna do a you know, building like that for ourselves, for the city or privately, if you go private, man, it can done be quick, but all they have to do is get permits and all that, and it's quicker. But when you have to go through government, it doesn't move fast, unless we get Donald Trump in here and then he'll stop it. He can do everything. But you know, it's something that we need to be proud of, because Pecos has totally changed in the last 2-3 years, and it's changing every day. We got people coming in, you know, I hear people complaining, well, why are they working here? Hey, if you don't want to work, we'll find somebody to work. And there's, and the oil field, man, it's booming right now. So up north, it's booming. I worked 41 years in the oil field, and it's booming more now than it was when I was working. So there's great things coming. We just got to be patient and just gotta keep going forward. We're 4,000 houses short in this community. When they do all Pecos itself may have 10 to 12,000 employees, but on a daily basis, through Pecos, around Pecos, 30 to 40,000 people working. That's a lot. When I was here as a young man, we had 7 grocery stores. We got 2 now. Thank God for United. But we only had 1 for a long, long time. And so, you know, things happen because people don't move. And they don't, we gotta change their mindset. That's what it is. It's not that they don't move, they just don't know how. But now there's people that know how, and we're pushing. And not that I'm the smartest, I'm not. But I like to say yes to different things that's coming.
Yes.
And the opportunity is here, we just gotta take it, and we need the support from everybody to make it work. Can't do it by ourselves.
And that's why I wanted to make sure and shout you guys out too, because it all comes through with all of y'all working together with everyone else as well.
Yeah, and that you put together, that's awesome, because we can see something.
And we're supposed to give y'all updates quarterly, so y'all are just gonna keep seeing their progress.
We're gonna, okay. That's cool.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
Okay, item F12, presentation of the implementation progress of Goal 2 of the Town of Pecos City's 2030 Strategic Plan. Goal 2, Safe and Secure City. Lisa Tarango, Chief of Police.
Mayor, Council, Lisa Tarango, Chief of Police. So our goal to safe and secure cities, it started off with a small group, which we've met when we could. And initially, we start off with the team you can see here, Edward De Leon with marketing, Juan Vasquez, he's our patrol captain, who's also the second part of this team lead. Mary Carmen Wood, Deandra Chando, myself, Griffin Moreland, Josh Ortiz with IT, and then not pictured are Karina Luna, who's our assistant jail administrator, Adrian Marquez, CID lieutenant, and Jessica Acevedo with municipal court. We saw the need for each one of these people for different reasons that you'll see when we go throughout our presentation. So first, I want to highlight again, thanks to council, we're able to get the 14 new patrol units, which after tonight, they're actually all going to be in outfitting. They've been in building as far as 7 of them, and the other 7 have been waiting in a sea of units at the outfitter. So our number comes up when it comes up to get those outfitted. We've had the new facility generator installed. Getting the electrician took a little bit of time to get that done, but it's installed and operational. That generator was purchased partially with grant funding, so it was not all at the cost of the city. We have a repeater, which the radio frequency added for emergencies only. It's like if there was an active shooter type situation, unlike our fellows communities have had trouble with communication, we saw that as an opportunity to create another channel that would just be for radio frequency for emergencies. We've installed 2 new dispatch consoles now. We have a fully operational dispatch center with 8 new dispatchers that took us some time to get them all in, but we do have that in place. We've done 2,125 TCOL training hours, TCOL meaning our licensing agency throughout the state. It's 24 officers that have gone through training. We've developed subject matter experts within our agency, some that have been veteran, been there for a minute, for fingerprint analysis, crime scene, blood spatter analysis, fraudulent documents, and most recently, in the past 6 months, we had one that was certified as an expert in narcotics. So those are a big accomplishment. And when I say certified subject matter experts, that means they've gone through either federal or district court, and they have been confirmed as experts in their field. So that was a big accomplishment for us, I think. Those officers also get used with other entities, federal and state as well. So working towards becoming a safe city in West Texas is something that we strive for. We want to be proactive, not reactive to stuff. So we've done some collaborative operations with state and federal agencies within the community to address criminal conduct. Some of that's being prostitution, narcotics. So we've worked those cases collaboratively. We've done additional equipment purchases with grant funds, which is added to the enforcement ability for patrol, SWAT, and within the police department. Additional officers are hired to replace the vacant positions right now. Thankfully, in patrol, we only have 3 vacated positions that we're still trying to get, qualified applicants. Most recently, there's some academies that are graduating, so we're hoping to see some of those candidates as possible officers within the community. Again, like I said, communications is now fully staffed, which that's a huge accomplishment for us. License plate readers, which are the LPRs, were purchased with grant funding. Those are in and ready to be installed, so that's the next step with the new units. One of those is actually going to be installed on a vehicle. The other one is where it can be moved around to different locations.
Chief,
Yes, sir?
how many officers are you short?
I'm short 3 officers right now.
Right now?
Yes, sir. One was a retirement position, and others went back to El Paso to work with agencies there.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Strengthening our community involvement is a big thing that we've continued to try to do, although we're going to continue to make efforts to do more things, more activities. National Night Out this past year was probably one of the bigger ones. Already had some places reach out to us wanting to participate in this year's National Night Out, so I anticipate it's going to grow even bigger. The homecoming parade, we did the trunk or treat, which again, our people put together their best efforts and won the award again this past year. Enhanced patrol for Halloween. You know the west side of Pecos gets extremely busy on Halloween night, so we have all of our units working out that night. Adopt a Tree Christmas event, we participated in that. The Christmas parade, we do a health fair booth. We're going to do another one this year. The senior parade is another big event, and obviously the biggest parade is the rodeo parade. And this past year, we did a 4th of July dunking booth. Part of that was raise funds for a scholarship fund, which hadn't really been in place in a few years. So with thanks to most of you who were participants in that dunking contest. Mr. Lino, I think, raised the most money. Everybody wanted to dunk him, so it was very successful on our end.
For the rest of us.
That's right.
Except for the ESD, and they had a thing for me.
Yes, I think Ms. Winkle's got the next one on there, so. Citizen safety and traffic enforcement, as you can see the numbers, call for services from 23 to 24, pretty close to the same amount. We're in the 19,000 range. Citations written, 2,826 and 23, and then the citations for 24 are 3,845. I can anticipate there would be a lot more in 2024, but we had to utilize 3 different patrol officers to help fill the vacancies we had in dispatch for about 6 months. Arrests, 395 to 406. Again, without those 3 on the street, we're missing some numbers there. Reports written, 17,000 in 2023, and then 1,700 in 2023, and in 2024, 1,500. Accidents, 204, and then 2024, 195. So we'd like to say, even though it's a small decrease in accidents, it is decrease. There was an increase of 36% of citations written, and so that leads us to believe that maybe some of that is leading to the decrease in accidents. I think some of the traffic lights that have been put on Cedar were also instrumental in that. The implementation of code enforcement strategies to the overall health and safety. We understand that is a priority to council when it becomes health and safety of the community. A lot of our strategies are going to be with animal control. Like we discussed earlier, Christy's at time a one-woman show when she's out on the street because Emily works in the actual shelter where it's open 24/7. You can see the numbers of intake has kind of gone down, and we're going to credit that with the chipping program. We do a microchip program, so we've been able to return a lot of animals. The adoption rates, you can see that they have changed because we get a lot of resources and rescues that take the animals out, so they don't count as our adoptions. Facility transfers, you can see the increase. Reclaimed animals, about the same. And the euthanasia, you can see it's decreased. We understand again that animal control has been a priority for council for many years now, and we're continuing to try to foster different resources for that. There's an 85% live increase rate in 2023. 2024 is 86%. I know Christy's had several months recently where we've had 0 euthanasias in the shelter. The euthanasias are mainly animals that are sick or injured. It's not just because we're short and need space. Usually she's able to find places. Presently, we're housing roughly 26 dogs who are in foster care. You can see the November intake numbers, 56, which is 45 dogs and 11 cats. I know the dogs look like a big number, but you may get a mama with 10 babies at times. She's had some really big litters in there. Adoption, and usually adopted out, we see a lot of that local. There's been 12, 4 dogs, 8 cats. A lot of the farmers and ranchers are really good to want cats for their barns, so that turns out to be a successful part. We've had facility transfers, and those mean from one facility to the next. They end up in Austin, they end up in Oregon, they end up in Chicago on a plane. So euthanized, there's 5, and those were a feral pack that kind of terrorized the neighborhood for a little bit. Again, 91% live release rate is the most current, and 1 month we've already had no kill status as well. So as you both or all know, that Christy did receive several awards, and in fact was invited to attend a conference in California for one of the resources or the rescue operations that she's involved in.
They probably want to know how she's getting it done.
They want to know how she's getting it done.
I don't think she sleeps.
Very rarely, in the middle of the night, she's driving animals to the airport in El Paso or to Junction, and
But
she's,
from what I understand, they're building a facility in Marfa as kind of a holding area before their final transfer.
I think you're right. I know, again, they're very passionate about what they do. And up in the Fort Davis, Marfa, Big Bend area, you'll see a lot of the resources that Christie's been able to get involved with, and they've recognized her efforts and what she's doing and what the city has allowed to happen, because without the council, that wouldn't have been happening. When that thing was built, it was a 3-day kill shelter. You stay or you go. One of the two things was going to happen. So I think with time and with the councils seeing it a different direction, you can see the progress that's being made. Any questions for me? Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, I understand Cindy's not here, so we're going to skip F13 for tonight. We're going to go to F14, presentation of the implementation progress of Goal 4 of the Town of Pecos City 2030 Strategic Plan. Goal 4, enhance Pecos quality of life through recreation, culture, and education. Holly Rocky, Community Services Director.
Mayor, Council, I am so excited to provide the updates for our recreation, culture, and education. I think you're going to enjoy what you see. You're going to see a lot of movement that the city has actually completed in our recreation parks area. My great team, Mary Carmen, who has been on all the teams, goes to show she does bring quite a bit of information and expertise. Deandra, Cindy, Michael Baca, Ishmael Mendoza, Philip Montaveros, Josh, and Jonathan, along with myself. No, I put my picture at the end. So the team we selected, we wanted to get input, obviously, from the people that are out in the field, working in the parks, working for Pecos Proud. Our IT specialist or technician was Mr. Josh, had some great ideas. He's a skateboarder, and so he brought us some wonderful ideas that we want to implement on a new project that's coming later in the year. Our goal objectives is to deliver these projects that impact the quality of life across the city in a timely, efficient manner. We want to create innovative recreational, educational, and cultural programs, improve our existing park system, baseball fields, landscaping in key areas across the city, those green spaces, more green space, add hike and bike trails, safe and accessible trails with connections to key places, connectivity. Connectivity being, for instance, Tolliver Road is talked about quite a bit, as well as developing an ATV off-road park. What you're going to see as our completions, what we have completed, and then moving forward, ATV is still a challenge as to where we can actually place it. So just keep that in mind. I won't be really addressing ATV just yet. So our quality of life projects that we have delivered in a timely manner, our last spin, recycled wind turbine benches promoted throughout Maxi Park and Zaragoza Park. Installation of our 2 spray pads, Hero Plaza Park and East Side Zaragoza. Update on our walking paths at Zaragoza. Completed installation of new restrooms at Maxi Park and the splash pad, as well as the new paint and skins for our Veterans Memorial Park static loan T-33 Shooting Star plane. Additionally, new playground with turf surround at Meadowbrook Neighborhood Park, our Mata Rodriguez Skate Park Playground, our new turf surface replacement encompassing 3 of our Maxi Park playgrounds, our Texas Parks and Wildlife Division grant approved for walking trails, Maxi Park. That is going to be actually happening this June. New Christmas ornament installation at Maxi Park and our 3 main city thoroughfares. So what we're looking at to improve our existing park system is to improve the pathways and trails, repair those damaged walkways, add accessible paths, and install better signage. Add seating and shelters, more benches, picnic tables, shaded areas to improve the comfort to our community and our visitors. Upgrade play areas, install new inclusive playground equipment for all ages and abilities, and enhance our restroom facilities. Clean, accessible restrooms encourage longer visits. We hear that quite a bit. Is the restroom locked? Why is it locked? Etc. And so we face many challenges due to vandalism, but we do attempt to make every effort to keep the restrooms, the older restrooms, open. Our public parks and open spaces for landscaping and more green spaces. We want to expand our existing parks with additional trees, shrubs, and flower beds, develop new mini parks and community gardens in underutilized spaces. One of the mini parks or pocket parks that we actually are working on is Cactus Pocket Park. We've just completed irrigation there. Streetscapes and sidewalks incorporate native plants. So adding some color, to our desert landscape. Commercial and business district encourage our businesses to maintain green facades and flower planters. And Keep Pecos Beautiful has done a great job in organizing and completing that for downtown. They're bringing it in. City Hall is actually is redoing all of ours as well. And so I think by setting the example of what what we're doing here, our community is going to see it, and hopefully they're going to want to engage it as well. Establish shared community green spaces for recreation and relaxation. Vacant and underutilized land. Transform vacant lots into temporary or permanent green spaces. Develop community gardens in empty plots. And so our hospital has already set the example of these community gardens, and is something that we would like to move forward with. Just recently, we had met with a company who collects data. I was so excited about this. I wanted to put it in here, so I did last minute. We were able to receive some really exciting metrics and data regarding Maxey Park. So Maxey Park was the only one that I actually did a geofence around, and was blown away by the visitors. This is just the visitors in our community, coming to our community. This is not local people. So our visitors are actually exceed 90,000 a year. But we had 20,700 that we were able to identify outside of the city of Pecos. So that says a lot. That says Pecos, people are coming out here, they're stopping and visiting. And so as we put this new software in place, we're going to be able to provide better data to council and administration to help us budget for greater things in the future. These numbers are going to grow every year, as I've indicated here, measuring the data for 24, 25, all the way up to 28. Our 5-year budget plan, we have quite a bit on our docket just for parks and recreation and education. So we have restroom update and landscape at our Mata Rodriguez Park. We anticipate having that completed by 2026. Our 9-acre park design and build at Bessie Haynes Park, we're looking at 3 phases. We're in the process right now of identifying a designer. Our carport additions at our Tolliver Parks building, they need more space. Our park amenities, so we've placed monies in our capital outlay for park amenities at our multiple parks. That's bringing in just a multitude of things. It could be small musical pieces for small children, benches, etc. Our baseball fields at Maxey Park, we are going to be partnering with the county in partnership with us, sharing our green space, trading green space for the Veterans Museum. They have in turn stated that they are going to then help us design and build new baseball fields at our Maxey Park. That entails 4 fields, all lighting, etc. What is the timeline? We are crossing our fingers. We're basically, Mr. Lino has already said, the start button is already been pushed. So let's go. Yes, get it done. Our Tolliver Disc Golf, so we had a delay in our Tolliver Disc Golf because of the design for a Tolliver Road. It actually cut through the northeast piece of my design. So we waited, so we're still finalizing some cleanup areas around Tolliver Road. We're waiting, we're also initiating, or already have initiated, some overhead lighting for that stretch of road. The walking trail and pavilions, again, the county would like to partner with us on bringing walking trails all the way down Tolliver, heading east to 118, wrapping around the, what we refer to the lagoon that's empty. They're wanting to do some type of possible fishing option there, as well as some pavilions and picnic areas. We have put that out for 3 years, waiting for some more discussions with the county. The Veterans Memorial Pond repair and replacement, we've encountered quite a bit of vandalism in the pond itself, and we are attempting to find a vendor that can come in fairly competitively priced to redo that pond. We're just looking at several options outside of a liner. Clearly the liner, it worked great while it was left alone. And then new holiday banners downtown. The holiday banners would be more reflective of the holiday time, not just autumn that we put out recently. And then new landscaping. Part of our team, we're identifying the multiple areas of landscaping that the city wants to adopt and install. Our water and sewer superintendent, along with our Pecos Proud and park staff, we're identifying those areas. One of the areas is where we're going to be installing a large monument at 116 and 118. We're going to create a nice landscaping design around it to kind of set the whole area off, I think. And do y'all have any questions? Sure.
I think with all these investments that we're doing to increase our park space, and we're putting so much money into it, we have to install some sort of security systems, some cameras to crack down on the vandalism. I think it's happening so frequently, and I think I'm over it. I don't know how much money, I'm sure you're over it, how many times you've had to address these concerns. It keeps happening. We have to put, right, we have to invest money in security cameras at all the parks, all these investments that we're putting into. I feel like we've talked about it for a while. We have to actually put money towards it and get it implemented.
So we have, after all of the vandalism we did go through, we did have camera system, IT, put camera system out at our community center location due to some serious vandalism there. And other areas, we have discussed placing that. It does pose a challenge, but we've been looking, and I was talking with the school system. They have a really neat system that's set up on their wayfinding signs out by the street. And so we're looking into that as well to see, how we can utilize that. But yes.
It's frustrating.
Yes.
Has it been successful in trying to identify people who are doing this?
So, yes and no. We were able to see them on the camera doing what they did. They shattered both of my basketball goals at the skate park. And I mean, he was a young, 12 or 13, Could I tell who it was? No. Was there a crowd with him? No. We did call the police. They did go out there and obviously, hoping that one of the kids would, it was this guy. But unfortunately, no. They have been called out there before. It's been a while, and I believe they were able to identify on another situation. And then we had a staff member call us on some vandalism that was done over at Tejas Park. And they were able to actually file on them. And they were young people. They were juveniles as well. So I mean, we're proud of what we're trying to accomplish here, and we really, it's our city's investment, so, yeah, I agree.
And file charges against
Oh, yeah.
the kids that are
Yes.
responsible or the parents.
PD has been ultra supportive, and I also get to see this fox that goes every early morning about 2 or 2:45 in the morning. It's just really, I'm like, where's he coming from? So, yeah, I've seen him a few times. So, but yes, it does help deter, okay? Also points out some areas that we need to strengthen as far as the type of amenities that we put out there.
Somebody was talking to me about, too, our ordinances.
Pardon?
Our ordinances, our laws,
Yeah, yes.
You should go around and issue a citation
Mhm.
and stuff. To really focus on those citations that would really make Pecos look better.
Focus on the citations for,
Trash, weeds, and, to
are you
really-
talking about code enforcement?
Code enforcement, yes.
Okay.
Which I'm still waiting for a report.
Which is
I'd
coming
like
in,
to see one next meeting.
which is coming in April, although this is my presentation, I'll say this. Can I say this?
What you're gonna say.
We hired 2 new code enforcement officers in November. We hired a third officer 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, who's been in the field. We've had great progress, and I'll be giving an update in April, at the end of April, actually.
You promised me one in November.
I did, but we had some serious changes that occurred that I really just didn't want to talk about.
No excuses.
I don't have any excuses. They're doing a great job right now.
But to go, do you know what I'm trying to say?
I do know what you're saying, and so it's completely separate from this, but I do know what you're saying. So I'm a licensed code enforcement officer. If I'm in Maxey Park and I see a dog that's being ran without, outside of our dog park, they're going to be given the option to take their dog over there. Otherwise, yeah, I have the authority to say here you're going to receive a notice of violation because,
Well, not just the parks, but,
Not- but-
homes and stuff that.
yes. So that's outside of this,
Buildings,
yes.
that are run down. Make Pecos just look better.
I agree with you.
Focus on that.
That's exactly why we take the position very seriously and why we've made the changes we've made. So, yes, in April, I have every intention, and I've already shared that with Mr. Lino, that it would be coming at the end of April, so that I can have some viable numbers.
Kind of coming back to your presentation.
Thank
of the
you.
Parks and everything. This is where the community has to help as well, is that they have to have pride and instill that in their kids to have pride and respect property, because we are trying to make things better. It doesn't help for us to spend the money to put these facilities out there and then just have them vandalized like they are sometimes.
Yes.
And, we need the community's help in getting this, done to where they're not tearing up what we're trying to build.
Exactly. And, that's interesting you say that, because I was at Veterans Memorial Park a while back, or it's been a while since I saw it, but, families, we want people to go out there and enjoy the space. It's a somber space, for most of our veterans, and so, but I'll see people that just, they're allowing their young children to throw the rocks at the fountains, and it's, it's a fine line to go up and try to ask them to correct that, because it's not taken well. So we do,
But then they're the first ones that complain.
Yes.
About the parks not being in good condition, or there's nothing to do, or why.
well, we have signage, and I just hate that. I don't want to just,
Do we have signage that says, please don't throw rocks in the fountain?
well, should
I don't
should
know
we
if that
actually
would
need,
help.
so, we could put up a basic sign, I believe, located within that park, yes. But, we had signs not to get into the water, and being told, well, if you don't have a sign, I'm like, well, no, that's vandalism. I don't need a sign for vandalism. And so, wasn't going to argue that either. So, but some are very protective of being told that, and they paid for it, and yes.
They're allowed to do that. I think
Well,
is-
so we really do politely try to share, how important it is that they not do that. And really try to be very generous with that.
Thank you, it's a good presentation.
It is, thank you, Holly.
You're welcome, thank you.
And your team, thank you. Okay, at this time, we're going to go into executive session under Government Code Section 551.071, confrontation with attorney, 551.072, real estate, 551.074, personnel issues, 551.087, economic development, and it is 7:30 PM. favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Let the record show the motion carries.
Mayor, on item number 2, annual evaluation and salary of the chief of police, I'd like to offer a 6% raise effective February 13th.
I'll second.
Have a motion from Councilwoman Seals, a second from Councilman Saldana to approve a raise for the chief of police, evaluation and raise for 6%. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Let the record show the motion carries.
Mayor, on item number 3, evaluation and salary of city manager, make a motion for a 6% raise effective February 13th.
I'll second.
I have a motion from Councilwoman Seals, a second from Councilwoman Trujillo to approve a 6% raise for the city manager. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Let the record show the motion carries.
Didn't we decide to dot Griffin?
Okay, we'll go to item I, discuss items for the next city council meeting. I've got F13, Cindy's presentation.
Put that one first.
Okay.
I thought the 13th was going to be rescheduled.
Oh, it is.
Well, this is the next meeting. This is item F13.
Okay.
Okay.
I heard 13. I was like,
F doesn't stand for February.
Anything else for our next city council meeting? No? Okay.
Make a motion to adjourn.
It is 8:30.